Hi everyone, I've talked about Khanna on this channel quite a bit. He's one of the, I consider to be one of the best progressives in the House in America, and there aren't many. And this video will just highlight you exactly how few there are. You can count them on one hand in the House and the Senate. Khanna responded to this by Rania Khalek. Rania Khalek is an excellent journalist, by the way. I've reported on her work many times on this channel. She's great. And Khanna retweeted her. She said, leading Democrats are backing the Trump administration's right-wing coup in Venezuela. This is on the back of the news that America have, or the American administration, the Trump administration recognizes the opposition leader as the true president of Venezuela, despite the fact that his approval ratings are very similar to Maduro's, and he has about 10th, 6th of the support that Maduro has. And I find it funny that somebody who lost his election, the popular vote in his election, is going after other countries for their not having a democracy. It really is quite funny. You know, you're living in an oligarchy. Hello, pot. My name's Kettle. I digress. Khanna, his response was this. Let me get this straight. The US is sanctioning Venezuela for their lack of democracy, but not Saudi Arabia. Good point. They sanctioned Venezuela for their lack of democracy when, you know, they have one of the safest and most fairest, most unriggable, unhackable elections in the world, and that's according to Jimmy Carter. But yeah, Donald Trump thinks that's a lack of democracy. But yeah, he got what, 2 million, 3 million votes less than Hillary Clinton and became president. I'll go into that, or I have gone into that on other videos about the Venezuela situation that will be released over the weekend. But he also said this: such hypocrisy. Maduro's policies are bad and not helping his people, but crippling sanctions or pushing for regime change will only make the situation worse. I do think that was a really good tweet. You know, sanctioning Venezuela for their lack of democracy, but not Saudi Arabia, and they hacked up a Washington Post journalist in their Turkish embassy and dissolved him in acid, and they faced no sanctions. They faced nothing really, nothing at all, the bare minimum. Still got deep ties with Saudi Arabia. You're not recognizing the opposition of Saudi Arabia as the true president, are you? No, this is complete bollocks, and Khanna's calling it what it is. Now, it didn't take long before he was smeared. This is Michael Weiss, who is a contributor to, yes, you guessed it, CNN. Of course it was CNN who smeared him. Michael Weiss said this: looks like Dana Rohrabacher I can never pronounce that name, has been replaced already. Here is your US rep tweeting an employee of Russian state media on Venezuela and a notorious pro-Assad apologist. Rania Khalek, he's calling there a pro-Assad apologist, and therefore labelling Khanna one as well. Others keep pointing this out, Michael, and, you know, I hate to jump on the bandwagon, but it's true. What's the opposite of a pro-Assad apologist? Pro the opposition? The opposition are ISIS and Al-Qaeda. Does that make you a pro-ISIS and Al-Qaeda apologist? You could do the same thing. This is a ridiculous smear, and this is what the media do over and over and over again. And it's always the same people. It's always CNN. They really are the worst. They really are the worst. So there he is, slandering and smearing Khanna for, hey, doing the right thing. Glenn Greenwald caught this. Glenn Greenwald's done some excellent work here recently. He said this: CNN recently fired Mark Lamont Hill for defending Palestinian rights. I did that video. It was disgusting that they fired him, and they still haven't done anything to rectify it. They just fired him and that's it. Closed their ears to any criticism. But recklessly accusing a sitting Democratic congressman of being a Russian asset, all because he opposes Trump's Venezuela decree, as Michael Weiss did, is fine. Of course it is. McCarthyism. Glad Ro Khanna calls this exactly what it is, and you can see there Ro Khanna responded and said, I guess McCarthyism didn't end in 1954. The comparison to Rohrbacher, who I campaigned to defeat, is absurd. I have strongly supported the investigation into Russian meddling, stood up for Mueller, voted for sanctions against Russia, and recently on Assad. The last two things, I'm not sure about that, Ro. Whether that was a good thing. To be honest, I don't think voting for sanctions on Russia and Assad was the right step. However, when he has supported the investigation into Russian meddling, he hasn't bought into any of the BS. He's just said we need to continue this. I believe that too. We need to continue it. Just continue investigation, but do it properly and don't report on it until you get the findings afterwards. Because otherwise, it's just speculation and propaganda, which is exactly what it is. I digress. Anyway, Glenn also caught this, as many other people do. Ro Khanna was the first to come out and support, and then they quickly followed afterwards. The progressives did anyway. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez retweeted Ro, which was great. That's enough, in my opinion. She doesn't need to say anything. She's a junior congresswoman, after all. Ilhan Omar came out and said something, which is great. But as I said to somebody on Twitter, you wait till Tulsi Gabbard says something, because she will be the loudest voice. She said this: the United States needs to stay out of Venezuela. Let the Venezuelan people determine their future. We don't want other countries to choose our leaders, so we have to stop trying to choose theirs. And that's a really good point. The media who are cheering this on are the very same media that for 2 years have been slating Russia for meddling in their elections. Well, here, this is not meddling in an election. This is directly overthrowing. This is attempting to directly overthrow the president, the leader of a democratic nation who was elected fairly in a democratic process. And always, ever since 2000s, ever since the constitution came in Venezuela, the elections have been free and fair. It's in their constitution that they have a right to vote. Do you have that? I wanted to highlight that because that's it. That's your four progressives, and Bernie Sanders, who has also said something, although it was in a 4-tweet thing, and the first 3 tweets he really didn't need to do. But that's it. That's it. So far, 2 days, 36 hours, whatever it's been, 4 progressives have come out and said the right thing, and the rest have been silent. Well, 3 have said something. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has retweeted Ro, and the rest have been silent or come out on the wrong side, such as Nancy Pelosi, who came out in support of Donald Trump today. That's great, isn't it? 2 years. 2 years America have been in this revolution, and all I've got to show for it, really, is 4 progressives in the House and a progressive senator, and that's it. Great. Well done, Ro. Well done, Ilhan. Well done, Tulsi. Well done, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Sort of well done, Bernie, although I wasn't totally enamoured by his tweets. That's great. The bad thing is, sorry, this revolution, this so-called revolution, if it's going to happen, it needs to happen quick, because this is not fast enough. It just isn't. And we haven't got time to mess about. We haven't got time to think, oh, we'll rectify this in 2 or 3 election cycles. We've got 12 years. That's what we've got. We've got 12 years to get people in positions of power who are actually going to work for us and work for humanity rather than for the military-industrial complex, which seemingly, in America, that's what all the politicians, apart from those 4, actually serve, and not the people. I hate to put a downer on this, but I've been as positive as I can, and that's really scary. To support truly honest, independent journalism like this, please go to patreon.com/Gordon Dimmack. You can become a patron of mine for as little as $1 a month, and every dollar helps. I cannot stress that enough. We can't do this without you. Also, you can use any of the avenues on your screen right now to donate, or below. There are many of them. Please make sure you're subscribed. They unsubscribe people every day, so please make sure you are, and click that bell as well so you get a notification of when I drop further videos. Thanks very much for your support. Until next time, peace and take care.